Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. This is Josh here with On the Wrong Lead, and we got a fun little show this week. We got the cross country pick 5 featuring some racing at Parx, and I know that there's nobody more excited to finally talk about Parx. Mr. Caleb Knight. Caleb, how are you?
I'm doing even better now that you mentioned Parx is coming up.
Oh my goodness. So, since you are the noted king of Parx, what makes you like Parx so much?
You know, there's just some tracks that I don't know that I particularly like, but I just do really well at. And it's always those kind of like shitty, usually dirt only tracks that maybe don't even have a turf course. I know Parx has turf, like 3 days out of the year, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a track that I can handicap pretty quickly, and it seems to make sense to me. The takeout is abhorrent, so that kind of sucks, but the rebates are good. So it's just a track that I've always done pretty well at.
Poor Road Warrior. He said it's been 4 weeks since he's been here. This better be good. And he shows up for the one Parx episode of the year.
There's a Belmont race in there.
There's a Belmont race in there that we're going to talk about. So, obviously, if you guys are new, we're on the wrong lead, right? Handicapping, wagering, bourbon. We'll definitely talk a lot about the first two, but let's talk a little bit about the last one. I did pull out a Maker's Mark store pick here from the good people at Doty Liquors in Elmhurst, Illinois. It's delicious. I have not had a single bad Maker's pick. They're about like $70, and I think that they're all really good, especially if people always chase after those expensive weeders. I think that this and Maker's Cask Strength are probably the two best weeders that are really easy to find. So, Caleb, I did notice some brown liquor in your glass. What do you got going there?
Yeah, so actually in this glass, I just have a Wild Turkey Rare Breed rye. So it's the barrel proof rye. I think it's 112 proof. So it's quite tasty. But then I brought a backup bottle in for, after I hear Mark take some absolutely terrible pick and I'm going to finish this glass, I'll have a backup bottle. And that's the Thomas S. Moore Chardonnay cask finish, which is actually for $60, I think a hell of a deal. I wouldn't pay the 100 it's going for on secondary, but it's been a good pour.
Yeah, I like those. I like those different casks, especially like in Scotch. Like I love a nice sherry cask.
I'm a big fan of the finished casks. Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of sherry, we got our own. We got our own Mark.
That's the lead-in?
So there's a couple things, right? I don't know. I mean, we just kind of rag on you all the time, so I figured introing you as Sherry. But also, I think that out of the people in this group, you are probably the most likely to have actually drank Sherry at some point.
I have drank Sherry at some point, yes.
Caleb, have you drank Sherry before?
Nope.
I don't even know what Sherry is. So, all right, there we go.
Does it count if I poured it into turtle soup? I guess not.
That's a weird transition.
That's very odd. I did not see that coming whatsoever.
That's a thing down here. You add sherry into turtle soup.
Oh, look at Brian. We haven't introduced Brian yet, but he says that's ginger, not sherry.
And I'd like to point out that the horse that made Caleb chug bourbon last week ran second. So at like 40-1. So just throwing it out there.
Look, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Speaking of nuts, Brian.
You hear that, old man? Yeah,
dude, I didn't even realize you were wearing the Manscaped shirt. That's hilarious. Oh, that was a good pat on the back and the lead in there on accident. So, Mark, I know you have a little scotch there. I know we talked earlier. You got the Glenfiddich 15.
Yeah, Glenfiddich 15, which is a nice bottle of scotch. It's not bad. Not my favorite, but not terrible.
And Brian, you got like the Ford Focus of bourbons there with you.
So I've been sipping this bottle of Woodford since the Kentucky Derby. It was a Kentucky Derby bottle.
Cool.
I did not like the flavor of it, so I just finished it off in this old fashioned. And when I'm done, I'm going to 90-minute.
Ooh, 90 minutes, a good one.
Good stuff,
That's a good one.
So, I know Woodford, a lot of people love it. It wasn't the flavor for me. I think you guys ruined me by starting me off on Buffalo Trace.
Man, I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better, I don't think, for just middle of the road, hey, I can always drink this than Buffalo Trace does. Tyler does say he loves the Maker Store pick, so we got some good taste here. Road Warrior looks like he's been back to the institution 4 days a week, which makes me think that he's been in jail 4 days a week, serving some kind of weekend jail thing. That's a thing, right?
Speaking of jail, you noticed I'm wearing the Manscaped shirt. I got a lot of comments on my last DUI for the way I look down there.
Anyways, speaking of jail and possible robbery, let's Caleb, you did bring up a point, and something we do need to talk about a little bit here before we get into the races.
EDB.
What EDB? What did he do?
Nothing.
But Parx. The reason we're covering the cross-country pick 5 and not the normal pick 5 type sequence that we would is twofold. One, the takeout at Parx is not player-friendly. So I know you can look on their site. Some of them are within the realm. I think win, play, show is fine and maybe double. I could be wrong on the double, but I know win, play, show for sure. Hey, you can win bet at Parx. It's okay. Once you start getting into the exotics, it starts getting a little dicey. I know some of them used to be as high as 30%. I did read that some of them got lowered to a 25%, which they said was competitive, which is kind of gross. But we're going to cover the cross-country pick 5 here. Good way, 15% takeout, nice low takeout wager.
So
go ahead, Mark.
Stupid question because I've seen it both ways on Twitter. Is the jackpot pick 5 paying out at Parx? Because I think I saw somebody say that randomly they're paying it out. If it is paying out, it's not the worst wager ever. Is it pick 5 or pick 6?
The pick 5 is a jackpot, which is just dumb.
Yeah, I do agree that it is dumb, but I think that it is a Mando payout on Saturday for that pick 5, which means that I think I saw somewhere online it was a 43% effective takeout without the Mando. So if they are Mandoing it, it's probably only a 25% effective, where it is not horrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
As somebody who wants to be educational and make sure that we're putting good out into the world, I cannot recommend playing certain exotic wagers at Parx. So with that caveat, we're going to talk to cross country pick 5, which is a low takeout wager. I don't know if you guys, there's going to be a big StableDuel competition this weekend. Big contest, $150. Caleb, what was that guarantee? Was it 12,000?
I think it was 12.5 actually.
Yeah. So I believe Caleb said yes and twice on Saturday. So he's definitely going to be in. But yeah, if you guys, I'm sure we'll have some StableDuel plays to talk about here as well. But we're going to take a look at the sequence here. Let me hit the old switch here, and yeah, this starts off at race 10 at Parx, the Gallant Bob. Now, this is not the best cross-country sequence I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I think that the bookends look pretty difficult to get around here. And race 10 features I think the best sprinter going right now in Jackie's Warrior. 4 to 5 in the morning line is going to be probably 1 to 9 or something in this spot. Caleb, you're shaking your head already. I mean, this is just as simple as taking Jackie's Warrior and just moving on, right?
Yeah, if you're trying to beat Jackie's Warrior, you're trying too hard, I think. There's no technical argument you can make as to why he doesn't win this race, unless you just want to gamble that the jock falls off or something crazy happens. I don't think he can lose. He can show up with the worst race of his career and probably still win. I'm not going to play against him. He's an admittedly a shitty race to have in the cross country pick 5, but a textbook free square.
Mark,
I got nothing. 100% agree with Caleb. Jock has to fall off. He will be 1-9 in this field as he should be, and he should win this by open lengths pretty easily.
Brian, I know you got something for me.
Well, for the sequence, no. I think Jackie's Warrior, I agree with everybody. But I might try and do something crazy in StableDuel, something around New Bomb, maybe the 2. I don't think can win, but at 10-1 in the morning line might be a horse I look at when I'm putting my stable together. Should be able to get in the money here. And at 10-1, it might be one of those things. So, but I agree with everybody. I think Jackie's Warrior is the horse to beat.
Now, one of the things that does make me a little worried, I guess, about the sequence is the fact what's the anchor leg? Is it Belmont? I think Belmont also kind of has a similar issue, I think, and where there's just like one kind of like really big standout. I mean, maybe Caleb or Mark, maybe you guys might get creative in that last leg, but we got this pick 5, and you got 2 really short price horses. Like how are you guys gonna like attack that? Like, you have to fade one of them. Are you guys gonna do some kind of just slam? Like what's kind of the thinking there, Caleb?
I think.
Or Mark? No, Mark, go for it.
I think for me, it's a situation of, and I mean, we'll talk about the Belmont race as well, but I think you kind of use the 10th at Parx and the 10th at Belmont as, equivocal free squares. And then you try to get a little creative in between and maybe find some, you're not going to find out like a price. You might find a middle price, and then you try to leverage it up. I think it's a sequence that really leans into sort of, ABC's outside ticket, multi-wager ticket. But a way to sort of leverage up the middle chunk. But I do think there are 2 pretty logical singles in the sequence. But I will say this does make it approachable to a smaller player, which isn't a bad thing. It's being able to have a small guy play a $25 ticket that they might get $100 back on isn't a bad thing.
I'm going to come back to that real quick, but I see Michael saying that he takes it Jackie's Warrior won't be the subject of Caleb's new column.
Unfortunately, no. I did toy with the idea. I'm like, man, I'd get a lot of clicks if I said I wasn't betting Jackie's Warrior. But
then you'd be a dirty tout.
Yeah, but I'm like, there's just no horse in here. Like, this is just. So yeah, that'll drop tomorrow. A different Parx horse actually, but no, Jackie's Warrior. He looks tough in here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, Mark. You're you sound. There was a racing executive that I think had said something where he was like, "Oh yeah, the guy who comes to the track with $50, and if he leaves with 200, betting some kind of jackpot wager, you should go home happy." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that, Mark. You sounded a little too close to that. I forgot who it was. I got to look that up.
It wasn't what I was implying. I think a sequence like this where you have those free square type horses, or if you really want to get around Jackie's Warrior, be my guest, have fun and gamble. But, these kind of free square horses make a sequence more, approachable. If you're somebody who normally plays a pick 3, you can, spend up to a, pick 4, pick 5 because of the fact that it's a more approachable sequence with those couple of free squares. That's not a bad thing.
It's funny. I would actually say there's no right way to play this sequence. Not really, depends on your opinions. But I would say the worst way you could play it would be to single Jackie's Warrior in pocket square and then go fishing in the middle legs, because you're going to play it the exact same way as 90% of the people in that pool. And now if you're going to slam and be very skinny and have it 40 times, okay, that's a different argument. But if you're going to play a 50-cent pick 5, then be okay with losing a $50 pick 5. That's kind of my opinion.
Yeah, but I think this is one of those pick 5s that you could play for probably $20 or $25 with with 2 singles in it, and maybe you get back 75, 3-1 implied. You're going to get 1-9 on Jackie's Warrior, and you're going to get 1-5 on pocket square. Is that inherently bad value?
Well,
I don't know. You tell me.
Does it not depend on what you think in Parx race 11? let me throw this at you. Okay, you're looking at 3-1 in a cross country pick 5. If you say Jackie's Warriors is single, if you like a couple prices in Parx 11, are you better off playing a double there, looking for 5 or 6-1 if the opportunity presents itself?
Well, let's take a look at this takeout here real quick because I believe it's astronomical. But go ahead. You were saying, Mark.
No. I mean, I think Brian's got a logical take, but I also think we tend to tell people if you can make a pick, 5 into a pick 4 or a pick 5 into a pick 3, that's not a bad thing as long as you have, as long as you're okay being wrong on those 2 legs you're skinny in, and you're also okay with, the fact that, if I'm right, I'm not going to, this isn't going to be $1,000 pick 5.
It's 20%, which is like high, but like high and pretty high on the average side, but I don't know. I mean, looking at I guess before we move on to the next race, Caleb, StableDuel, right? You got a 4 to 5 horse here. This horse is going to just like absolutely obliterate your salary. Are you using Jackie's Warrior, or are you going to try and find the second place horse and hope that they don't finish behind by like 20 lengths?
I might do both. I haven't done the whole card yet, so I don't know what all my opinions will be. Jackie's Warrior is a horse that you're really going to pay up for, obviously. He's going to be 1 to 9. So, compared to what he's listed as here, you're actually getting value at 4 to 5, believe it or not. And he's probably going to win by 10. So if you get 70 points for, $11,000 in StableDuel, is that worth it? I mean, I don't know, maybe. For me, I'll probably use Jackie's Warrior unless I just can't fit the budget, in which case I'll look for the second place horse. And I might double up here. If I don't have strong opinions in 3 or 4 of the races, I'd rather double up here and hope to come out with 100 points for $12,000.
So, Caleb, I've got a question for you, StableDuel wise. You have 13 races to choose here. You only need to pick 10 of, you only need 10 horses. I can understand the logic that you just threw out there. That makes a ton of sense. Jackie's Warrior is very likely to win this by 10 lengths. Therefore, you get the bonus points plus, take the easy money. But how do you balance that with a larger race card where you have more choices? Aren't there better spots where you can find that horse that gives you better relative value in a StableDuel tournament?
I don't. Sorry, I saw the comment. I think from talking about a double up standard when there's 13 races to pick from, it's a harder thing to do to double up when there's 13 races because most people are going to have 10 bullets with an opportunity to score 60 points in each race. You're kind of hamstringing yourself on one of them where you can only get 40 points for one of those bullets. In terms of race selection, though, it doesn't really change my opinion. If I, at 4 to 5, I mean, you're paying up, but if I still think he's more than likely the most likely winner on the card and going to be a good lock for 65, 70 points, then, I'll probably be okay with spending up as long as I can fit it into the budget of my other picks.
I have a question. Is there any chance you don't use Jackie's Warrior since 99% of the stables will have?
Yeah, there's a chance. If I think that, if I can't squeeze him in the budget and I like other horses, in other spots almost as much, I could see taking a bit of a contrarian opinion there and kind of going against him since in the event that he bleeds or something crazy happens, you're going to be set apart from the masses. I mean, I don't know that I'll play it that way, but I think there's merit in that strategy.
All right. So let's touch on Road Warrior here, talking about Charlie Brown. He said the reason he doesn't you don't think he can single pocket squares because Charlie Brown always has another one, but we'll get there. Oh, man, that's a good one.
I'm with you. Someone can move the football. I can just feel it.
Just pull the football out. So moving on to race 11, I'm going to give you guys a preview for Caleb's column tomorrow in HRN because I have a feeling this is going to be the favorite everyone's going to try and beat in the 6 Clairiere at 2 to 1. Caleb, am I correct?
I was between 3 horses to write against. This was one of them, but it's not who I wrote about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wrong here. I'm definitely going to try and beat Clairiere in this spot. I got 3 horses written down in here. I got obligatory here coming onto the stretch out from the test. And this is kind of more of like a pace play. I mean, 2 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 2 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to 1 is a little bit too high. I think 3 to Curlin on top, you would think that this horse would want to route. Is got a little bit more of a sprinter, I think sprinter bottom, but I'm not super familiar with Macho Uno. I'm kind of going off the AWD here. But obligatory, ran some really nice races earlier in the year, kind of, laid an egg at the test, and is coming back to a route. There's a fair bit of speed signed up on here. It's not exactly like blazing, like E8 type 3 cherry speed, but I just kind of have a feeling that the horse that's going to win this is going to come from a couple lengths, like 2, 3, 4 lengths off. So I don't think I'm going to want anybody who's going to be on the engine here. So
just so you know, this 7 is scratched.
The 7 is scratched. Private Mission.
Private Mission did not ship. Neither did Medina Spirit.
But still, with you got your cheap speed here in Always Karina, and then I still think, like I said, well, you said Private Mission scratched. I think Clairiere is going to probably be a little forward as well. I don't know. I just think 2-1 here is just not a great spot here. So I'm going to try and take 2 other horses that are going to be sitting just off in Marcuccia and Army Wife here. Like I said, this is mostly a value play. This is kind of a pace play. I think you're going to get slightly better value on these 3 horses than you are on a horse like Clairiere, who just doesn't win. And I'll take my shot with a horse like Army Wife or Marcuccia, who've at least won in the past couple of months here. So, Mark, what are you thinking?
Similar to you, my concern with Clairiere is that she just really hasn't won since that February race at the fairgrounds. She always runs well, always sort of hits the board, kind of does her thing, but she doesn't like to win. And I think I'm going to probably land in the same spot you are with Army Wife on top. I think they tried to go a little bit too far in the Alabama with her. I really think the cutback helps her. If you look at her race record in a mile and 8th and a mile 16th, it is much better than when the obviously they've only tried to stretch her out. A mile and 8th once and a mile and 16th or a mile and a quarter once. But I think the cutback really helps her. I think she's a little bit better, a little bit shorter. And, with the 7 coming out of here, she's going to be fairly forwardly placed. And she should, Joel can kind of look over his shoulder and see Clairiere coming. So he's going to get first run and hopefully he can ride a fairly tactical race. And, I know Army Wife is Brian's horse, but I really like her here.
Brian?
So you can have the Army Wife. I'm going to go different because that's what I do every single race of every single week.
Yep.
And I'm going with a horse that I don't think any of you will even give a second look to. So Josh, if you'll scroll the PPs downward, please. Noemi, and stop the leader of the band. Vroom, vroom. Now, I'll explain why. I have this race as being a little quick up front. I have the cheap speed and Always Karina. I think Clairiere sits close. I think Maracua, or however the hell you want to say that one. I know I did tweet out that, Kendrick would be my play all weekend, but I don't think this horse can fit there. So if they happen to go a little too fast early, I believe Leader of the Band is the benefactor of that. Josh, you said you wanted a horse that was going to sit 3-4 lengths back. I think this horse is probably more like 6 or 7 lengths back, but if the pace is right, it definitely could be there. Not the most likely winner, but if the price is right, it's 12-1 on the morning line. I think I see every bit of that, if not more. So that might be one of those things where I say, you know what, why not? 18-1, 17-1, why not give it a shot? But, other than that, I do think the 5, like Mark said, would be the most likely winner. I want to like Leader of the Band as a pace play. I want to, and I'll probably go down on this boat.
Caleb, tell us how we're all wrong.
I think you're all freaking nuts. There's no speed in this race. With the 7 scratched, Always Karina is going to get everything she wants on the lead. I don't know that in fact, I don't think Always Karina is very good. I thought her Mother Goose was terrible given the fraction she got to set and still got beat by a horse who is also not very good and Zaz Gel or whatever the hell her name is. But at the end of the day, lone speed, and we've all seen how dangerous that can be. I don't think anybody can go with her. I mean, Clairiere, I mean, she's a closer. I mean, she's been a little bit close in a 4-horse field, but that was arguably one of her worst races. I don't think she wants to be close. Maracuja, I mean, same argument. She was 3rd in a 4-horse field. I mean, I'm not really convinced that she has speed. I mean, I guess you could say the cheaper horses, like the 2 or the 3, might try to go, but I mean, I think it's some very interesting handicapping to come up with this as a contested pace. Maybe I'm wrong, but more than likely not. I think always Karina gets loose. I don't know if she's good enough, but I'm going to use her and pay to find out. And I'm with you guys on Army Wife. Those are my 2 picks.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I don't necessarily think there's as much pace on here as I think Josh may have said, but I will sort of say, with always Karina, so you said that she got loose in her mother goose, got away with murder, and then stopped. Why isn't she going to do the same exact thing here?
Well, she might. I don't know. But I'm kind of thinking, well, first time against Stakes Company, Belmont Mile on the 16th is a bit of a weird configuration. Okay. The pace was so slow. I kind of wish she would have actually had a 2 or 3 length cushion going for home instead of being neck and neck with the closer. I don't love the horse. I don't think she's that good, but I don't know there's any killers in here. So as a lone speed, I mean, she might be good enough to steal it if they let her get away with it up front. I'm
going to bring something up because I feel like I feel like I've been misled. All right, Mark, like for the members of the jury here, did you not ask Caleb, hey Caleb, how does cheap speed do at Parx? What was Caleb's response?
He did say that cheap speed, surprisingly doesn't do that well.
So, and which horse did Caleb pick?
He picked the horse that he then referred to as cheap and as the speed. Yeah, he did those 2 words in the same sentence. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess we're classifying second in a grade 2 as cheap speed these days against Parx horses, but I won't mention it.
Second in the mother goose that had like 4 horses in the entire field. Got loose in like a 5-horse field and still lost.
Hey, maybe my PPs are messed up. What service is this race on?
What service? It's John service.
No, what surface?
Oh, sorry.
Dirt?
Dirt.
Oh, who's that trainer?
Charlie Brown.
Oh, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, okay. There's the football, Caleb.
Dude, Charlie Brown's going to freaking boom us. He's going to move the football away from the rest of us at like 9-1 or something. And Caleb's going to look like a fucking genius.
If he's Charlie Brown, who's Pigpen?
I did see somebody in chat ask, I know it's not part of the sequence, but this was the Turf Monster. Was this the race that got pushed back, or no? That was like the prep for the Turf Monster that got pushed back, right?
It got canceled, yeah.
Yeah. So we do got the Turf Monster here. I haven't looked at this yet at all. I don't know, Caleb. Did you take a look at this race at all?
I have, because I debated making this as the second horse I thought about going against.
Oh, Caravel, yeah.
Caravel. I respect Caravel, I do. But if you look at speed figures, she's no faster than anybody else in this field. She's one of the fastest horses, but she's not faster than anybody else. And at 9-5 or 8-5, just based on her record, I thought she got a little bit exposed last time out. So for me, for her to come in here and go against the boys after beating up on the fillies for a while, I think she's a play against. I think there's a lot of good options you have here. Just quickly, I like Beer Can Man to come off the pace. Yep. I was interested in both Catatori and Fire Crow to be on the front. And I kind of thought that Battle Station had a chance to clunk up underneath. Probably not a horse I'd use on top, but the 9 Battle Station, I thought actually ran a really good race last time out, but was very wide and had a bad trip, and he might surprise a little bit.
Yes, I worked through this just from the StableDuel thing, and exact same 3 horses that Caleb talked about: Beer Can Man, Caratori, and Fire Crow. I think all make a lot of sense. I would probably actually put Caratori as my top pick in here. Going to be forwardly placed, kind of the most inside drawn speed, so should have a fairly tactical, pretty nice tactical setup here.
See, it's interesting you say you put the 4 on top, because I went with Beer Can Man, but then I looked at the 4, and I think the 4 is coming out of a little bit classier history. I know class doesn't matter, but I think a stronger argument could be made there. I just think you'll see more value in Beer Can Man than you will in 4.
Oh, you relate to that horse on a personal level?
Pardon?
Then you relate to that horse on a personal level?
I can, but this is not a can.
Well, I mean, Karatari lost to a dirt horse 2 back, so I don't know if you know, in Just Might. So
You can blame the jockey.
But three back lost a fast boat, and we know that, you know, getting a little flattered now.
But you do realize there's a jockey change after that loss to the dirt horse, so it's okay.
Right, Just Might was the horse. Didn't it win a stakes last week? At
You won a race at Churchill.
Churchill, yeah.
Didn't Gear Jockey win last weekend too?
No, that was 2 weekends ago.
Kentucky
That was at
Downs.
that was Kentucky Downs. We were there live, and if you guys missed it, podcast we recorded this week was with Jay, Geege in Discord. He talked a little bit about Gear Jockey and his big hit there, so check that out. I like Karatari and Fire Crow in this spot, so that's kind of where I had landed. I could see the 9 possibly, and you're going to get a good price. But it just, I mean, the Critical Way, or barely lost to the Critical Way, but I don't know. That wasn't necessarily a real fast race at Parx last out, but it's got to win over the surf, or it's got to run over the surface, and only lost by a nose. So that might be worth something here. I'm not really sure, but Road Warrior he says he loves me some Battle Station. So
I wish it was 5.5. I'll say that for Battle Station.
Yeah. But let's I think we sufficiently killed race 11 as well. So why don't we get to race 12 here, Pennsylvania Derby. Brian, I'm not going to let you get the jump on everybody and see how everybody picks and then you zag. So you zig, my friend. What do you got here?
Zigzag. This is a drug-free work zone. Okay. No. Maybe it's not. I kind of sound dumb right there. Anyway, let's be honest. Hot Rod Charlie, Doug O'Neill. You're gonna beat what? 9-5.
4-5.
4-5.
You guys really think so? Really?
I think so.
Yeah.
Really?
It was 4-5 in the Haskell, and this is a worse field than that.
Yep. So let me zag on myself then. What about Folsom? What about Keep Me in Mind? I think Folsom might. Well, I don't know. Remember how I told you I tweeted out that I don't really pay attention until I get home from work. So with that being said, Midnight Bourbon probably has a pace advantage. Midnight Bourbon might be able to control the speed, and we'll know by then if the track is tuned up. And let's be honest, it's Parks' big day. It's going to be fast. So can Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon go neck and neck all the way around the track? If that happens, if a pace battle happens, I think there's no way either one of them finish in the trifecta. So with that capping in mind, I'm going to keep me in mind. Joel Theodoro should be the benefactor of that pace, should be forwardly placed, should sit close enough to pounce and get maybe first run on somebody like American Revolution, or if Wayburn, maybe even Folsom. So there's my zig and my zag. I changed my thought in the middle of my conversation, but I think Keep Me in Mind is probably the horse I go with.
I love Keep Me in Mind in this spot. I mean, I think this horse makes a ton of sense. Maybe this is finally the time that the horse kind of, turns the corner and actually wins a race. But I really like Keep Me in Mind in this spot. I'll tell you, the one horse I want absolutely no part of, I think, in this spot is going to be Midnight Bourbon. I think that, ran its eyeballs out last time out, lost by a neck. I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, should be controlling speed here, but I think is going to get some pressure from Wayburn as well. And I think that this is going to set up either for Keep Me in Mind coming from the clouds, or Hot Rod Charlie sitting just off. So if I'm playing cross country, I'm probably going to use both. I don't know though. I mean, it's going to be tough just because of how much chalk there is elsewhere. Like I would have to structure this somehow in order to, either press Hot Rod Charlie or just toss, and kind of how Caleb said, just not be worried about losing, losing a $50, $100 pick 5. I did write a kind of a question mark here next to Speaker's Corner. I don't know. Any of you guys interested at all in Speaker's Corner?
Speaker's Corner is going to be my top choice in here. I'm trying to get around the two chalks, and I think you have a horse that's a Godolphin horse. It has the pedigree to get this distance perfectly. Street Sense over Bernardini. This is a horse that's improved it in every start. We all know Bill Mott does not rush his good horses into form, and I think this is that type of 3-year-old that's a back half of the year 3-year-old, a one that for some reason didn't make the Derby, didn't make the preps, whatever they had going on, and this is one of those horses that ramps up and is pointing towards the Breeders' Cup, and this is probably a stepping off point for that. I think this is a horse that can again take another step forward, and needs to take a step forward to play with the top 2 or 3 in here, but it doesn't need to be a massive one. So, and is going to get the pace set up where he can sit sort of off, watch. Can sort of watch Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon and get that sort of first run advantage. And if the two of them go at it, which is kind of how I see this going, I see the two of them, kind of pressing each other. He's going to get a really nice setup, get that pocket trip, and get that, that nice first run. We'll see if he's good enough. You're going to get the class test, but you're going to get paid to get that class test.
Son of a.
Now, Mark, I know you're kind of the figs guy, right? You probably look at more figs than anyone else in here. How does the 3 match up with everybody else? Because Briz has got it good. Briz, this horse is right there. Is maybe 1 or 2 points too slow, which is like nothing on the Briz scale. How does he match up on Bayer or time form?
On time form has Keep Me in Mind, Hot Rod Charlie, and Midnight Bourbon almost identical. All 3 of them have run effectively the same fig. Speaker's Corner needs probably a 10-point improvement, but if you look at him, he improved, 25 points from his first start to his second start, and then another 10 from his second to his third. So, he's getting, second off the layoff, got that nice, easy prep where he was obviously very geared down at Saratoga and didn't have a great break. Yeah, I think there's no reason to believe that he can't take that step forward. I think he's that type that does.
And I think Michael brings up a good point here. He's talking about this feels like a make or break race for StableDuel contest. The scratch is a 2-1 favorite. And you know what? That really reminds me of if any of you guys played DFS, when you, especially like basketball is probably the number one where this happens. You're watching the lineups, and you got a star player like an Anthony Davis or like a LeBron or somebody like that, and they scratch, or they scratch, which I guess, yeah, they might be a healthy scratch for the game, or like they might be resting or something like that. All of a sudden, it's like you have to play their backup. Like you have to play their backup, and it's like if that backup plays well, like you either make money because he hit, or you fade him, and you got to hope to God that he doesn't come in. And I think when you get this favorite scratching, this feels like one of those races where you kind of got to get right. Same thing with football, right? A couple of years ago, Melvin Gordon went down, and it's like, all right, everyone played Austin Eckler, right? And he went off, and he ended up, he's a star running back now. And it's like you have to jump on those opportunities. So I think here, especially if you are a 100% believer in Hot Rod Charlie, 5-2 is value here on Hot Rod Charlie in StableDuel. So it's like, if you're going to be playing StableDuel, and I completely agree with Michael, this has got to be a race that you hit. What do you think, Caleb?
Yeah, I think you covered it, Josh. I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think you have to play this race. If you have any kind of opinion, I think you have to play it here in StableDuel. My opinion is I don't think Hot Rod Charlie, I won't say I don't think he can lose, but I think he's overwhelmingly the most likely winner. I think he goes off in the ballpark of even money, and I just think he's better than these horses. He's already beat Midnight Bourbon twice. He was DQ'd last time, but he was going by in the Haskell. He's had some time off, which I think is good. Midnight Bourbon's on a pretty quick turnaround here. Yeah, he ran good, but he had everything his own way on a slow pace, on a track that was favoring speed. I'm with you, Josh. I don't want anything to do with Midnight Bourbon, but I do like Hot Rod Charlie from a cross-country pick 5 and a StableDuel perspective. I'm using him. I might have a tiny ticket trying to use a horse like Keep Me in Mind on it, but I really feel like I've just seen enough of him. So I'll probably be singled here to Hot Rod Charlie as kind of my second free square in the cross country. I tried to make the case for like Speaker's Corner or the Pletcher horse, the 10 American Revolution.
Yep.
I just think they're in too deep here. I'll pretty much never bet. Maybe not never. Rarely will I bet last out maiden breakers or horses going from allowance races to grade ones. I just think it's too much too soon. Couple that with the fact this horse has never tried 2 turns. If you want to throw that horse in at StableDuel at 12-1, I don't hate that at all. But to put this horse on the top of any pick 5s, I think it's too much.
Caleb, Justify broke its maiden, went to an allowance, and then won the Santa Anita Derby.
As a 2-year-old, this is a 3-year-old.
No, that was as a 3-year-old. Remember the Curse of Apollo? Damn it, Brian.
Because
you said Justify, and I thought you were going to say Arrogate. Because he did the same exact.
Dude, I wasn't watching horse racing way back when Arrogate was still running. What the hell are you talking
back
about?
In like what 2016 or whatever.
5 years ago.
Michael's saying the difference is you have 8 backups to choose from. Yeah, that can be a little difficult.
Yeah.
Brian, go for it.
You pop off a question of trivia after you've confused the shit out of me about DFS and horse racing. I understand what you're trying to say, but if you lose LeBron James, you take everybody else in the roster. You lost Medina Spirit. So I get what you're trying to say as far as the morning line's concerned, but the other 8 horses could care less if LeBron James is scratched. You know what I mean? The Lakers, they care if LeBron James is scratched. These horses, they don't know shit. They're going to run. One thing I want to throw out, since Caleb just trashed it, was I had a note on the 10 American Revolution from the Saratoga last out. 15-1 here. I think that horse will be in my StableDuel. Just because I believe that horse, the note I had in the horse was never really asked in the second half mile. And I don't know what that horse has in the tank. I like Pletcher in the fall. He usually has a way of getting horses ready. And this spot may be a weak spot without Medina. If, in fact, Hot Rod Charlie and like Midnight Bourbon go a little quick early.
I like Chicago in the fall. You like Pletcher in the fall? I like Chicago in the fall.
It's the second day of fall. Did you know that?
Unfortunately, I did.
I saw pumpkin spice lattes at Starbucks.
Yeah, the Uggs make their way out already.
The Uggs are out.
Uggs are out. Oh
what
man!
was it yesterday? 57 degrees in Chicago. Yeah,
it was cool. It was nice. But that's gonna do it for Parx. Caleb, maybe at the end of the stream, if you got any other StableDuel plays or anything that you're looking at, we can kind of touch back. But let's take a look at this stakes race here at Churchill. We'll be going 7 furlongs. It's the Harrods Creek here, and we got a field of. Let me scroll down to 10 here. This was another race. I think this was a race where, and maybe I was completely wrong in that other race where I was like, oh, there's no speed, or there's a lot of speed. I think this is a race where there's not much speed, and I think I'm going to take a pretty hard stand here on the 7-2 Emerald Forest here, the 5. It's coming off 2 straight wins. Is coming from Mark Country in Louisiana and Evangeline Downs. So shipping up. I don't know if those figures are legit, but if there doesn't seem to be many horses that definitely 100% want to be on the lead as much as I think this 5 horse does. So this 5 horse is going. Churchill's been playing the speed. I don't know. I think that I'll probably have most of my money going through this 5. I did have a passing interest in the Diodoro horse to 1. I don't know why they're coming back to dirt, because the horse seemed to run pretty damn well on turf, and now they're putting it back on dirt. Always is kind of a question mark. Like, I don't know if they just think that the spot is that soft. Did run in a couple of graded stakes earlier in the year. And if you go back to its 2-year-old season, has a couple of efforts that I think do fit here. But I'm a little confused. I feel like the horse fits, but that turf to dirt thing, I don't know. I think the horse might just be a turf horse. I'm not really sure. Caleb, what are you thinking? Or go ahead, Mark.
No, I was gonna say, Josh. I know you're more of a pace guy than I am. When I looked at this race, who are you thinking the 5 makes the lead in here? Because okay, so the 5 has never won except for when he made the lead. You're assuming you just gonna learn how to pass horses all of a sudden now?
You don't think the 5's going to make the lead?
E7, bro.
Who do you think's going to make the lead here?
I mean, I know Caleb hates the time form pace predictor, but it has the 1, the 6, and the 7 all being faster than the 5.
The one speed. I mean, the one does go, and if that's the case, like I said, I am going to be using the 1 as well. But I mean, the 1's been running on turf, and as we've said before, turf speed ain't dirt speed.
Yep.
So, who else has got it? The 4?
1, the 6, and the 7.
Oh, the 6 and the 7. Yeah, I mean, I guess the 6 has got a little bit of speed and is going to be has been stretching out a little bit further. The pace figures don't look as fast. The 7 maybe. The 7 did run in that the return of the St. Louis Derby at good old FanDuel Racing, but yeah, no, I don't. I thought the 5 was coming in with a little bit more experience and a little bit better form here. But if you want to take a shot with this lightly raced horse on the cutback, the 7, I mean, the 7's got route speed. I don't know. Does that mean the 7's going to have 7 furlong speed?
Usually, I feel like Josh and I agree pretty well, but tonight we're not on the same page.
We weren't earlier either on that pick 6, so we had
right.
like 3 horses in common the entire sequence.
I know. Maybe it's some Thursday juju or something. But I thought this was a very contested pace. I don't really know who gets the lead, but I think it's going to be contested because I don't think anyone between the 1, 5, 6, and 7 is fast enough to clear. I kind of agree with Mark. I think it's going to be contentious up front. I thought this had the softest 2 favorites in the sequence. I hate the 5, who I know he looks good on Brisnet and he looks good on time form, but I don't really believe the speed figures beating up on a bunch of plow animals in Louisiana Downs and Evangeline. I mean, they're probably timing those races on a sundial. So I'm not really convinced that any of those races are legitimate. As far as the 7, I think that's a terrible price too. I mean, you got a 2 wins at Lone Star and then FanDuel. I mean, no thanks. Like, I'm not convinced this horse is legit either. So I'm going to spread here because I hate the favorites. I do have a passing interest in Dreamer's Disease. I thought he ran amazing last time out and too good to lose for the fractions that he set that day. I don't know what to think of the cutback and switch to dirt, but I think he's the only speed horse I'd be interested in. And then I kind of liked most of the off the pace horses. I thought the 2 made some sense coming off the pace. Bejarano's riding really well. I thought that the 8 is a horse that should have liked the turf based on his pedigree, but apparently is just a better dirt horse. If he can sit off, I think he made some sense. And then even a horse like the 10, who is definitely on the cheaper side, but it's incredibly tough to close at Pimlico. And this horse has come from pretty far off the pace in both of those Pimlico races. I think he'll be benefited from the extra ground here, going 7 furlongs. And I think the fact, Pablo Morales comes just for this one mount, I think that's encouraging. I thought there was a lot of ways to go here, but I was pretty much against most of the favorites, mainly the 5 and the 7.
There's a comment in the chat, and I feel like, Caleb, you might need to read this. Michael saying, "Give me Sattler's Joy's little bro." Who is that?
That is the 8, Wolfie's Dynaghost.
Wolfie's Dynaghost, yeah. Yeah, I think Wolfie's Dynaghost is actually my top choice in here. I mean, obviously they've tried to. I mean, the pedigree says he should love turf, and he just didn't seem to really take to it. Definitely did not run well in either of those Saratoga races. So he's perfect at the distance. They're gonna flip him back over to dirt, where he's done his best stuff at, and he's 2 for 3 on over dirt. I mean, I realized that optional 80 was a bit of a soft field given it was taken off, but should be the horse that he can sit off that contested pace, and he's proven he can pass other horses and can pass other horses on dirt. I really like Wolfie Dynaghost in here quite a bit.
I mean, let's not trash that last effort. All right, finished 3rd at 10
Oh no, he ran really well in the Better Talk Now. He was going against a very tough field. I mean, both of those Saratoga races, I think will come back as being pretty darn good fields, and the Hall of Fame was a decent field as well. So, and also both of those were on the inner, so that can play a little funky.
And there wasn't 3 turns, so we know if it's Sadler's Joy as a little bro, like we're gonna need at least 3 turns. All right, Brian, zag, baby, zag.
I try to do a lot of thinking, and I'm not sure where you guys landed because I quit listening after Mark stole Michael's picks. Caleb says he hates the favorite, so he's taking the other 9. So I'm trying to narrow it down from there. And then, Josh took the speed horse, which is cool.
The speed horse that apparently is not a speed horse.
Right. Mark took Michael's horse, so M&M connection there. Whatever the hell's going on, it's almost like that one guy's back stealing Caleb's picks.
Well, I would say
Jared Bush, baby.
Jared Bush isn't in chat, so somebody had to steal somebody else's picks, so I just went there.
All right, so scroll on up, Josh. Go up 2 horses. I like doing that because I don't have the PPs in front of me. I'm just throwing darts at the board right here. So it's Churchill Downs, and it may or may not be one of the fairgrounds' best riders, Adam Bashiza. Yep, Bob's Edge.
You're taking Biscuit.
Biscuit. Why not taking Biscuit? Caleb hates the favorites. Let's take Biscuit.
I like
so
Biscuit here.
Does Larry Jones know how to train male horses?
Larry Jones was one of the best heavyweight fighters of all time. Oh, wait, hold on. Larry Holmes. No, I'm just kidding. Man, you guys are uptight.
Apparently, the horse is 2 for 2 over Churchill, so he does know how to get, winners out of male horses.
He does.
Well, it is gelded, though, so.
True.
If you look at the horse's last out effort, it was on turf, so you can toss that one out. But, 2 back at Churchill at 6 furlongs. Nice effort. Optional claiming 100,000 race, and then 4 back. So maybe this horse is one of those not as obvious on again, off again types. Mm-hmm. I think 2 back, if I remember right, at Churchill, that might have been a little back track. So maybe he even won not having the track, to the best situation. But he's going to be 4th place, and he's going to be probably 10-1, 9-1, maybe. What's that morning line? 6-1? I can't tell. But
8-1.
Morning line's 8-1. You'll get every part of that, if not a bit more.
The layoff is a little concerning. I was looking at the workouts, and he's only had 2 workouts since August 24th, so I'm not sure if there's an issue there. It seems a little odd that they had that big break after a huge workout on August 24th. So I'm hoping the horse is coming in good form, but if the price is right, I'll gamble.
You do realize that Larry Jones is 3% on a 60 to 180 day layoff, right?
You want me to make a joke?
Yeah, I'm just going to say his horses normally need one. That's all I'm saying. I don't hate your pick, but
I have a joke. But I'm trying to draw the line somewhere because I can't always make fun of you and Tinder.
I mean, it's too easy. You figure to get old after a while.
Like me passing a buffet. I'm going to stop 99.7% of the time. It's not my fault.
Oh, man. Road Warrior says, I have to say, for the 15 months he's been watching these shows, he's agreed with Brian the most.
You know why? Because we're sharp handicappers, Road Warrior. These other 3, monkeys. Me and you, we're going places, baby. You know what?
Going to the ATM to reload.
We're going to the institution. We're going to Belmont, and we're going to hit it.
Well, speaking of Belmont, I believe this is the last leg. Because what is it? The 2 Parx races, the Churchill, and then the 3rd Parx, and then I think it comes back here to this race, at least in chronological order. But it's gonna be the last race that we cover in the sequence here. We're gonna be going a mile and 1/8 on the inner, the Athenia, and we got a relatively small field here. Got 5 horses, and
and one of them probably scratches out.
You think one's gonna scratch out?
Yeah, stand the flags in here just as hoping this comes off, right? I mean, why else is stand the flag in here?
Well, they tried to get her on turf 3 times, didn't they? Or was she an MTO in those races?
I don't know if she was an MTO or not. I mean, you are right, but She's
There's
got
no turf pedigree at all.
There's no turf pedigree top and bottom. They're hoping that the rain that we're supposed to get 2 inches of rain overnight. So they're hoping that somehow this comes off and that she can get a cheap black type, right? That was my assumption in looking at the race.
It would make sense.
So Mark, then how do you see this one going? All right, pocket square is like what, 3 to 5, 4 to 5 in the morning line, 3 to 5 in the morning line.
Whenever I look at a short field where there's a dominant controlling speed, which pocket square should be in here, especially on turf, I just think pocket square dominates this field. A Rad's going to be able to pop the gate, walk the dog, and save all the effort and just sprint for home. I think pocket square wins this. Pocket square is going to be, I would imagine, a lot shorter than that. You're going to probably get 1 to 5 in here because I would imagine it's going to be a 4-horse field. And, I think it's hard to come up with a scenario where from a pace setup, anybody else wins. Keep it nice and simple.
Caleb?
Yeah, I'm not using pocket square on any tickets. She's no faster than a lot of the other horses in this race. I mean, not really. I mean, look at Tom.
Okay, she's not faster, but she has a massive pace advantage, and I
don't think she does. I mean, there's no speed in this race.
Really?
You're expecting her to go to the lead, but she's been 3rd by 5th, 3rd by 1, 7th by 4, and 8th by 4. I mean, she's not a proven leader. You don't really know what Irad's going to do, and if the 5 doesn't scratch out, that's your de facto leader, and even if she does, I think that the 1 has a chance to be involved early, coming out of some of those races that were quicker early than what Pocket Square did. Specifically that last race. The 1 might have more speed than she's shown. You just had Leparoux on for half those mounts.
Yeah, but hasn't Lescano been hanging out with Rosario a little too much? Didn't you see that ride earlier today?
I mean, he did. He fell asleep at the wheel. But anyone's a more aggressive ride than Leparoux.
And you're also talking about races where the horse was 6 or 7 lengths off from that pace. So I'm
talking last out. 2 lengths off a 23-1 opening quarter. That's quicker than Pocket Square last time.
I'm showing 6 off here with Lake Lucerne.
Yeah, the last race.
6 off
look
at the start.
I'm talking the first call.
Okay.
I mean, that start thing is like at the break. I don't give a shit about that. But regardless of the pace, I don't want to take 3 to 5 on a horse that's the co-3rd fastest horse in the field. I'm not interested in that from a ticket construction perspective. There's other chalk in here I feel way better about. I won't have Pocket Square in a single ticket. I'll use the 1 and the 2. I think they're both just as good as Pocket Square, but for some reason people love to bet Pocket Square. I don't really understand it.
People love to wear pocket squares.
I mean, that last race was impossibly bad. Like, that was the weakest race, arguably, of the Saratoga meet for $100,000 optional claimer. I mean, it was horrible. So yeah, I just think that she's beaten nobody. She's kind of exposed as a never really matured kind of horse. And I'll use the 1 and the 2. The 2 is much more proven. Should have won last out. Had a bad trip. And the 1, I think, has a right to step forward and may contest that lead. Depending on what Lescano does early. But either way, I think they're both, almost as likely to win as Pocket Square, and they're going to be 5 to 10 times the price.
So Brian, you're old school and just plain old. So you at least know this angle, right? But I mean, if you look at Pocket Square, look at the 2 wins. 2 wins are on Lasix, and the 2 times not on Lasix, I mean, just, not even close. So, I mean, do you think that maybe that could be something that might be an issue here? Maybe being off the Lasix, it just doesn't get the best effort out of Pocket Square. What are you smelling, Brian? You smelling bullshit?
I think I smell burnt toast.
Why are you smelling burnt toast? Are you having a stroke?
You call me old, you bastard. I think this race sucks. I'm sorry. I think Caleb's spot on. I think the 4 is going to be the bookends for so many people in the cross country. So I think you toss it and try and get something home. I think if the chalk wins in the first leg, we talked about it, Parx, and Pocket Square wins here, you're getting your $100 pick 5, and it's like crap. So why not try and beat it? And maybe you do get $1,000 pick 5 if you can get around the 4 here. You guys covered it, man. I think the 1 and the 2 are pretty nice. I don't know if I trust Liscano on the rail. The one comment I heard from Caleb I thought was interesting. He said he doesn't know what Irad's going to do. This is on turf. It is 9 furlongs. He's probably going to sit there like, okay, Jose, where you at? Jose, push that horse out of my way. It's time to go. But it wouldn't surprise me if Irad sits a little bit off. You know, this is the kind of race where Manny Franco steals it, right? I mean, how many times do we see Manny Franco win? And you're like, how did he win? Well, nobody challenged him, and he went. So that's what I have to say. I don't really have any opinions. This is the kind of race I would not play unless I really had to. If it's a tournament, the fact it's a sequence or in the middle of the cross country, I have a strong opinion about not playing the cross country pick 5. One, because this race sucks, and the first race with Jackie's Warrior, I think, is going to be everybody's going to be on Jackie's Warrior. So I think personally, for my own approach, I would probably look for a heavier pick 3, either Belmont by itself or Parx by itself, and try and capitalize that. But you know, I'd say good luck to you if you take the 4 here, Josh.
Michael's saying that isn't Italy at least a little bit interesting? The 3 made in Italy. I mean, like, if you're gonna take the 1 and the 2, and if like you said, Mark, the 5 scratches out. I mean, if you're really against pocket square, I mean, don't you have to take at least a little bit of the 3?
My name's not Mark, but he likes to cut people off. I'm not sure if the 3 is going to be close enough, or if there's enough pace here with it being New York, right? What are they going to run, a 50-second half mile? I think at that point, maybe, you know, Junior finds himself a little too far back, and the horse doesn't have that turn of foot that I'd like to see on a horse that may be 5, 6, 7 lengths back. In my opinion, I'll let Mark talk now.
No, to quote Caleb, I think the 3 might need to catch an Uber to get to the finish.
From a game theory perspective, if you're against pocket square and the 5 scratches, do you want to use all but 1? I mean, I get that angle, and I wouldn't use the 3 in equal amounts as the 1 and the 2. I don't think the 3 has a very good chance to win. But the 3 is still lightly raced in the States and relatively unexposed. I would maybe have a safer ticket with the 3. I just don't think she's quite good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I'll have to go back. I should have notes on that June replay, but I haven't seen that Delaware. But it looks like the horse caught trouble both times.
I watched it. Now, albeit I only watched the pan. I didn't watch the head on. I don't think it was huge. I mean, it's not like she was loaded and just got totally shut down. I mean, she probably would have finished a little bit better, but I don't think she would have ran significantly faster from what I saw.
Yeah, I watched the pan as well because I was trying to make a case for a price in this, what it's a 5-horse field. You want to be contrarian and not eat chalk. And I didn't see enough trouble to really make it make a lot of sense. I do understand the logic, though. If you're a multi-ticket player, playing and using the 3 as a C, just from a purely game theory standpoint of the times you're right are going to massively outpay the amount that it costs you to do so in a fairly skinny sequence. So yeah, I can see it there from a game theory standpoint. But otherwise I can't really make a case for the horse to win.
You say game theory standpoint, and then you reference a C. You've got 4 horses here. How can you actually have a C in this race?
Because you can't eat a B if it's a C.
Because my idea here is to leverage up the front end. So I'll probably play this for, I don't know, a $10 base pick 5. And then I'll have $1 of that going, or maybe 50 cents of that going through somebody like Made in Italy. I want a very small amount because the times that I'm right, the horse should, I mean, the horse isn't going to be these odds, but the horse probably wins this, 1 in 40 or 1 in 50 times. But there's a massively outsized payout if you do get that. So I'm okay with, it's going to cost me $6 to have a 50-cent base through that kind of a horse for the idea that if that horse does win, I get that massively outsized payout.
I
guess that's game theory. You're right. It's not game theory. Game theory here will be tossing the favorite and using all of the other 3 equally. That would be real raw game theory. You're right. I'm using game theory in the term that's probably not correct.
So let me ask you this. Why not toss the favorite here?
Because I think the favorite wins this race about 90% of the time.
There we go. Book it. I'll take the others.
Can we get a clip of that for the?
I mean, that's the thing. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, and this is kind of, I think this often gets lost, right? When on Twitter, people argue, people sit there and talk about the EV police, ITPs, the EV police, and all this stuff. Like, really, what it is that, all right, Mark, if Mark really thinks that the horse has got a 90% chance to win, absolutely. Like, that makes sense, right? The problem is people often think, oh, well, this horse wins 50% of the time, and the horse is 3-5, right? It's like, don't you realize that is kind of that's where the underlay is, right? You say 50% of the time the horse is 3-5. You are not getting paid for that 50% of the time. If Mark really thinks that this horse is 90%, I mean, then absolutely, like, you put your money through on, you're gonna get, your whatever, your 2-5 or whatever on the horse. It makes more sense that way, but yeah, it really does come. It really, I think what you do in this leg really does come down to what you think of pocket square. And you know what? Like, honestly, like, just talking with you guys and just seeing how you guys are thinking. Like, yeah, this is probably idiotic to use. At least, like, the way I see the race. Like, if I think that a horse like the 1 has got a shot in this race, right? Maybe to win, I don't know, 10 or 15% of the time. Then, yeah, putting 100% of my money, or just using this 4th, who I think maybe wins 80% of the time and is going to be 1-9, maybe, yeah, it is worth it to try and toss this horse and go elsewhere. But
hey, let me ask you guys a question here, since Mark brought up game theory, and I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole. Obviously, this is Belmont, but there's some opportunities that people play in some mythical situations. So what would you think if perhaps, okay, you hate Mark says, oh, I like the 4, but I like the other ones. I think the 4 is going to win. Maybe you go to one of those mythical spots and you play the 3 in a 5-person mythical to cover or savor. Is that completely crazy? Just
No.
thinking outside the box here, since you mentioned game theory, so I got my wheels turning. So you wager your money through the 4, but then you save it through a WTA or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
If you're talking a winner take all, the problem that you would have, I think the concern with the winner take all would be that your 3 would have to be finished in the exacta, and I think the chances of your 3 winning and your 3 finishing in the exacta are about the same. Now, your 3 to hit the board, I don't hate that. I think I can see a scenario where one of the other 3 logical. What?
He beats 1 horse.
Yes, where your horse beats 1 horse, but therefore it pays better than pocket square winning by beating 1 horse. I'm sure there's a hypothetical there, I guess, but I don't know. I think you're angling for thin value there.
I think it's dumb to bet against yourself most of the time, and I don't think doing it in a tournament makes any sense, because you're not going to be the only person that has that horse. That's probably going to be the most popular pick in any tournament that you're in. Right. No one's going to take pocket square at 1-5. So even if you're right, and
no think we'll take pocket square at 1-5.
Okay, maybe a few people will take pocket square at 1-5. The 3 is not going to do much for you if you're already behind in the tournament.
Just something to think about. I wanted to flip it there a little bit, because it seemed like a good race. You got 5 horses, and on paper, you think most of the people are going to say, okay, the 4 is going to win. But from a game theory standpoint, I think that's interesting.
If the 5 doesn't scratch, I'll have the 5 on a ticket also, for the record. Horse has 0 turf pedigree, but if 5's in there, I think we get a Naira special, and at 20-1, I'd pay to watch.
I mean, it's Rob Ultras, so if there's anybody for a Naira special, he's your guy.
What do you think if by some miracle this comes off? Like, is it the 6?
I think Spice's Knife is pretty darn tough there, because, I mean, do any of these other ones want? Honestly, I haven't even capped it that way, Josh. But does anybody else in here want dirt at all? No. I mean, Spice is nice.
I mean, it depends who stays in, but I don't think they would take this race off, no matter what happens. Honestly, it'd be a 2 or 3 horse field.
Yeah, I don't see that. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, they'd have to have 6 inches of rain an hour before the race for them to take this off. So.
Is there anything else really going on in Belmont? It looks like it's a bunch of maiden races. So
there's some race called the Kelso that's going on.
Yeah, race 4.
Oh, race 4.
It's kind of a thing. kind of like a
Oh, Life is Good at 1-9.
Who's more likely to win, Jackie's Warrior or Life is Good?
Life is good.
Life is good.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Chance It is better than any horse in any other horse other than Jackie's Warrior in the other race.
Agreed.
So
Yes,
I don't know. I thought so. Like I cannot put like I don't know. Well, maybe if I get better than the 4-1, maybe I'd be interested in. But I rewatched that race and I thought Chance It ran actually a really good race. From what I saw, I off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember watching it. I noted it in my my replay notes, and I pretty much was just like this last race was a lot better than it looked, and I mean got a good number for it too. So I don't know. I actually don't hate Chance It. I mean, if I just wanted to be contrarian bastard, like I would probably just like single Chance It in the spot and toss Life is Good.
Sorry, I heard you say contrarian bastard. My ears perked up.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go super contrarian? Look at the 4.
The
30-1 morning line. And from a pace makes the race mentality, the 4 is actually there. It sounds crazy. I know it is. Cold trainer, cold jockey.
Cold horse.
3 wins. 3 wins and 27 starts. But from a pure numbers standpoint of pace and, if you start looking at energy expenditures and whatnot, I know on paper, on Brisk, the 4 is crazy looking. But what I'm looking at as far as like early energy, late energy, and the velocity figures, the 4 may run a lot better than 30-1. But that's all I gotta say about that.
I don't disagree with your 4 horse running better than 30-1. I don't think your 4 horse can hit the board without I don't know an Uber. I like the Uber to hit the board, but I
prefer Lyft, but
Lyft. Okay, the Lyft, Uber. I don't know, a helicopter ride, something to get to the front.
I mean, Life is Good could cover 3 mares in the backstretch and still beat this field. So I don't see him.
See, but
what if there was wasn't there like a jockey that like hid in the fog or something like that, and like won a race that way?
That was an old gangster thing at some track that's down to Funk that was in New Jersey. But yeah,
of course, New Jersey.
So
always New Jersey.
Damn Monmouth.
You mentioned needing an Uber. The 4 has actually won a graded stakes race. The 5 has won an optional claimer. Just putting that out there. I think the 4 is better than the 5. I think the morning line on the 4.
Okay, there needs to be an asterisk next to all graded stakes at Monmouth.
Okay.
Michael saying the discreet lover special for BD horse player there.
Oh, I remember that race.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, he got me that day.
Was that the same year? Was that the same year that was it Mongolian Groom also like blew up some huge race?
Hey Josh,
for the BC?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So Josh, if I know Josh horses, you do love use of New York Traffic, right?
I love New York Traffic.
Do you know who beat New York Traffic?
Who?
A lot of people.
Horse in this race.
It wasn't Chance It.
Brian just talked about.
The 4?
3 back.
New York Traffic.
Yeah,
that was
so
a route.
The Josh Transitive property. You also like the 4.
Yeah, but no. I mean, we got Saffy Joseph on the 3, so I like the 3.
The 4 is like a 0 cherry horse. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it is a 0 cherry horse. That's a Tommy horse.
It has no cherries, but it's in an Uber and a helicopter. The 4 is money now. We're talking it right into the fucking.
Is that like an Uber inside of a helicopter?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Michael's saying won the Jockey Club Gold Cup for the same connections in a small field at Belmont at a huge price.
See, you guys think I'm crazy. Michael's making an argument for me because he's smarter than me.
I mean, that's a low bar.
Road Warrior saying he was there for that race and it was awesome.
Speaking of low bar.
You mean local on the wrong way historian?
Yeah, I know. The guy remembers everything. And yeah, no, they were wrong years. 18 for Discreet, 19 for Mongolian Groom. So, God.
You feel old now, don't you, Josh?
I do feel old.
One day you're just going to roll over and have hair left. Ask
No,
Mark.
that's not going to happen, dude. Look at this. Look at this.
Mark's only 24 years old.
Yeah,
But I've had to
take
deal
a
with
sip.
Brian for like 5 years, and it's just gone.
Take a sip. Take a sip. All right. So, Caleb, have you taken a look at any of these other Parx races?
Yeah, I have. At least I looked at most of the stakes races anyway. I didn't get to the undercard quite yet.
Anything on the card that kind of stuck out to you there?
Well, I'll tell y'all who the terrible favorite is I wrote about, and this was a softball, I'll admit. Race number 8. The 3-horse, Mo Ready at 2-1. I think he's a lousy favorite. From a StableDuel perspective, what makes this race kind of annoying to me is I really like this 4-horse Magic Michael.
You just like Magic Mike.
You know, it reminds me of one of my favorite movies. But no, the horse loves Parx. Great horse for course. I think he had a dead rail last out at Monmouth. It seemed like you did not want to be on the fence that day. 2 races back, he was closing into a really slow pace. And the horses he lost to were nice horses. Harper's First Ride and Fat Man are both, not you, Brian, the horse. They're both, pretty nice graded stakes winners.
You slipped that right in there. I like
That was good. That was very good.
But I don't like 9-2 because I think you get better than 9-2 on live post time odds. I think you get probably 6-1, 7-1. If we're lucky, 8-1. Like I think you'll get a better price than 9-2. And I hate taking horses that at underlaid prices in StableDuel compared to what I think they go off at anyway. But I do like that horse a lot. The horse who's going to take a ton of money in this race, who I respect, but is the 8 Seafoam. This is a Josh horse. I think it's a 2.5.
Oh, I went up to Math Wizard. I thought you were talking about my other love there.
Seafoam. After those 2 last races, pretty big efforts there. I think he kind of took advantage of 2 very speed biased days on those 2 days at Saratoga, especially the one in the slop. But he very well could be controlling speed again. Rosario sticks. There's a lot to like here. If I'm playing StableDuel, I think this would be my play, but I think he's probably going to go off about 4-1 instead of 8-1. Whereas from like a live bankroll perspective, I like the 4 Magic Michael. Moretti stinks. He probably runs like 3rd, but I don't like him.
I think it's too short for Moretti, right?
I don't know if it's too short for him. I just don't think he's very good. I've never thought he was very good. These marathon races always are very suspect in terms of quality. And the 2 best races of his career both came over the slop, which, it's not supposed to be sloppy. So I think that he's just not as good at 5 years old as he was at 4. And I don't think he was that good at 4 to begin with. So, I don't like Moretti. He's consistent. He probably does hit the board, but that's not what you want out of your favorite at 2-1. I think there's better values in here.
I mean, Seafoam probably gets it all his own way in this spot, don't you think?
I don't know what the 7 does. That's kind of the main pace threat. Let me say. I think the 7 goes if he can. I don't know if the 7 is quite as quick as Seafoam.
Did you give the 5 any look here? I like the 5 here. I know Joel jumps off, but Saratoga versus Parx, so it made a lot of sense to me. And I think the price of 8-1 is crazy in that horse. There's no way we see that, right? Or maybe we do at this field.
I think he gets lost on the board. I do, but I do like your 5. I don't like him so much on top. That last race feels like it kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know what happened, but but I do like him. I like him more than Moretti for sure, and I think that he's a good value 8-1.
Yeah,
he has beat Moretti too. So
right.
Mark,
yeah,
sorry.
I was going to say Seafoam should get all sorts of loose here. The real question with Seafoam is, does he want to go this far? This is quite a bit further than he's ever really thought about running. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go in here. I completely agree with Caleb. I think Moretti is a terrible favorite in this field, and there's a lot of different horses that make a lot of sense to get around a short price Moretti with. I kind of like Sure Flattery, the 7, a fair bit in here. Again, a horse that's stretching out, but you're gonna get paid a lot better than you are. I think Seafoam ends up taking a lot of money, live money, and Sure Flattery loves Parx. So another one of those local horses that's sort of interesting.
I'm trying to see if I can make a case for Math Wizard in this spot.
I made a bit of a case for him in the article, not a strong one, but like a passing case.
No,
I don't know if he wants to go this far either. I think that's kind of the thing.
There's a lot of horses in this race that you can are really suspect on this going this distance. But Brian's 5 is one of the ones I think probably has the pedigree to really get it.
Well, that's the thing. Most horses don't want to go this far, but most horses that run these races are horses that need 2 turns. They don't have much early speed, but they're not good enough to run at the more classic distances. They're not good enough to run 9 furlong in the Whitney, or to run in the Met Mile, or to run in the Woodward. I mean, they're just not that good. So they kind of find these weird spots like the Suburban or the Birdstone, or whatever this race is called, the Greenwood Cup. I mean,
is this 3 turns?
I actually don't know. It's a good question.
I think so. Yeah, mile and a half.
I would think it almost has to. They have a 2-turn mile here, so it would almost have to be 3 turns.
Mark, question for you. I don't know if you can. I'm going to touch on Michael's comment real quick, but can you run a formulator on this pedigree search?
Sure.
Because I think, if I remember correctly, in marathon distances, and I could be wrong, because I remember I looked this up at some point when I was like super into using formulator, and then I came back and I saw the light and came back to Brisnet. But I want to say Wicked Strong has got like a real nice win percentage at marathon dirt distances, but I could be incorrect. But Michael brings up a really good point when it comes to StableDuel. The tough thing with these marathon dirt races, the 4th place finisher gets beat by 25 lengths.
That's true. That is something to consider, is like margin of victory. A turf sprint is infinitely safer than a dirt marathon.
Yeah, and I'll let Mark do his magic. But yeah, I want to say that Wicked Strong has got a really nice win percentage at these marathon distances, but I could be misremembering. No pressure, Mark.
Really? This is what we're gonna do?
Yeah,
it's gonna be really high.
Is actually super nice. Parx has a really rough wagering menu, but they have some nice races. Silver State's running, who I think looks like a tough favorite. Mind Control's in that spot, who I don't want anything to do with him. He'll
Informative
be
dual entered.
What's that?
Informative is dual entered.
Yep.
He's also entered in the Parx Dirt Mile.
Yeah, true. The Dirt Mile is a neat little race. I don't think Silver State probably could lose, but I think there is value underneath, because I don't like Warriors Charge, and I don't really like Mind Control in this spot either.
It's crazy how Warriors Charge seems to have hit a cliff this year, right? I mean, finished last year really strong, and then this year has just been nothing.
He just has not moved forward at all since his 3-year-old season. His best race is probably back at the Preakness.
It's a fair comment.
I think his best race was probably that
Oklahoma Handicap.
Well, the Oakland Handicap was really good that he ran, but I was actually thinking the Met Mile. That Met Mile he ran. I mean, he only lost by 2 lengths, and he lost to Vekoma, which I thought was a really nice horse, and obviously they retired that horse because the horse won the Met Mile, and they're like, yeah, I think we're done. But yeah, it looked like Warriors Charge was going to be it was going to be one of those horses going to run at 4 and 5, and it's going to be that nice pace pressure and win. And I don't know, all of a sudden the last 3 times the horse has gone out and just not gotten the lead, and hasn't even gotten close to the lead. I don't know if the horse is just done racing and is just over it or what, but it's been the horse has just not looked the same. Because I want to say, and Caleb, you might remember a little bit better. The horse was like an EP6 or an E6 or something for the longest time, and now you're in EP1, so you're kind of just a no man's land a little bit there. So
yeah, you're right. I'd like to see maybe. I know they probably want to send this horse to stud one day, but I wouldn't mind seeing them geld this horse. Just see if maybe the focus is slipping a little bit, or mine's not racing, but he just has not stepped forward at all.
Hey Josh,
what's up?
I went down a rabbit hole when you mentioned Vekoma.
Mm-hmm.
You know where Vekoma stands?
Turkey.
Really?
Spendthrift.
Oh, Spendthrift. Are you trying to go back to the
what if
me getting trolled on or me trying to troll on Reddit and getting counter trolled?
Well, it's funny because I said that earlier, and then I didn't realize Spendthrift is saying that Vacoma is Kenny Wright's best bred son. And pretty interesting sales tactic there. Be curious to see what they do. But
yeah, and for you guys who don't go on Twitter or on Reddit, somebody had asked who Monomoy Girl is. Who do you think they're going to breed Monomoy Girl to? And I was like, one, who fucking cares? And two, here are the list of spendthrift stallions. And apparently my post got reported from one of my friends who's an admin on the our horse racing subreddit. But yeah, I think
Mark A to B cap.
Yeah, we're waiting for Mark A to be Capitan here. This is the slowest. This is like
I can't find it. So
if this was an ad for Formulator, this would have just failed.
I can't get it to pull sire distance. So sorry.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for us. I don't know. You guys got any closing thoughts? I mean, I kind of agree with you, Caleb. Normally, I am never Parx. The undercard looks good. I might do some win bets. I'll probably play that. I'll definitely play that StableDuel contest. Actually, $150. It's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $12,000 guarantee. I think it's 12.5, like Caleb said. So, good chance for an overlay if you're a StableDuel player. So make sure you get in there. I know Michael's going to have 4 entries in that thing.
Only
and he'll probably finish first.
He'll have 3 in the top 5.
Yeah, he'll finish first, third, sixth. Yeah. So, congratulations to Michael, the Parx, the chartinghorsevalue.com Parx winner. We're gonna try and get Michael on stream one of these days. We haven't talked about it yet, but I know we're gonna try and get him on there. We should probably see if that charting horse value guy, Brian. I think you know him, right?
I've talked to him a couple times. Yeah, I think either Michael or the charting horse value guy would be great to listen to on my drive into work. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Oh, I can get them on a podcast as well.
And I'm always looking for things to listen to on my hour commute into the city. And there's nothing better than listening to Josh's smooth voice at 4 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, God damn, at 4 a.m. There's days I'm still up at 4 a.m.
That's because we know. And your boss is probably watching right now. So
he's taking notes.
Mark.
Is Mark your boss?
No, Mark was saying something.
I got nothing.
We don't listen to him when he talks.
Yeah, so I mean, besides Parx, anything else that you guys are looking forward to this weekend?
So that would assume that we're looking forward to Parx, which is
completely true for all of us.
Yeah,
it's completely true for all of us. We all love, Parx.
No,
yeah,
I hate to go back down that well, but there is the first qualifier for a certain January tournament that might involve Mountaineer shipper on turf.
Oh, is there? It's where would said qualifier be at? If you say Parx, I'm not interested.
TBD still for Sunday.
So it
to be determined for Sunday.
There's nothing fun running this time of year, though. It's just
I'm not going to throw Caleb under the bus because I punched a ticket, right? I punched a ticket, so this is not Caleb's fault. However, Caleb made a very compelling argument against that 8 last week, and it may or may not have been the last horse I tossed on my ticket, and cost me that $5,000 pick 5. But
I'm glad it's not just me that Caleb costs money to.
It's not. But the thing is, it's not Caleb's fault, right? It's not Caleb's fault. But
he's
man, is he convincing? Isn't he convincing?
It's our own fault. I mean,
he's just so convincing. What are you supposed to do? I'm just man, maybe the 8. And I started looking, and I'm man, the sheets, his horses, and I started looking at sheets and something. The horse. I mean, he looks okay, but I don't know. That 4 looked really good.
I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt.
Anyways, that's good. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
If you're looking at sheets, I've got a roll of bounty. I'll draw some numbers on, send it over to you.
Might as well. I think, yeah. Oh man. But anyways, yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us. You guys can check us out on Twitter at wrong_lead. Make sure you check out StableDuel. Like I said, the big contest this weekend. Brian, let's hear the read.
Well, I don't have it pulled up.
Well, you got the shirt on at least. Check out Manscaped. Brian's got the shirt on.
For all your smooth, sensuous weekend needs.
But yeah, for Caleb, Mark, Brian, I'm Josh. We will catch you guys later.